Wealth, status, and tradition all leave fingerprints on the way people choose their life partners. And while love is often described as universal, marriage across social classes reveals deep divides that few openly discuss. In today's video, we'll explore what truly distinguishes marriages in the working class, middle class, and upper class, especially the world of old money elites. You'll see how love, money, and social standing collide in ways that shape not only relationships, but entire family legacies. Stay with us until the end of this video, because the truth behind these divides might just change how you view marriage forever. And before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to The Luxury Lane, your window into the hidden world of wealth, tradition, and quiet power. Marriage has never been just about romance. Across history, it has always been tied to survival, alliances, and legacy. While modern culture often sells marriage as purely a matter of passion, the reality is much more layered, especially when social class enters the equation. A couple from a working-class background may prioritize financial security and day-to-day stability. A middle-class marriage often centers around shared goals, like education, career advancement, and building a comfortable lifestyle. But for old money, marriage carries an entirely different weight: the preservation of heritage, reputation, and dynastic wealth. This isn't just preference, it's survival of a legacy. For centuries, aristocrats and elite families guarded their bloodlines through marriage. And while we live in a new age, echoes of this old-world thinking still run deep among the wealthy. Let's begin at the foundation: working-class marriages. For couples who live paycheck to paycheck, marriage is often a partnership built on resilience. Love is present, but the practical side dominates. Who pays the bills? Who can take overtime? How will childcare be managed when both parents need to work? In this environment, marriage becomes less about symbolism and more about teamwork. Divorce, while still common, can be devastating financially, leaving both partners with little room to rebuild. This is why many working-class marriages survive, not because everything is perfect, but because walking away is costly. And yet, there's a beauty here too. Many working-class couples report deep bonds of loyalty forged in struggle. Unlike in wealthier circles, there's little concern about reputations or dynastic alliances. It's about survival, unity, and finding joy in small victories. Now, step into the middle class. These marriages exist in a liminal space, caught between stability and aspiration. Middle-class couples often marry later than working-class couples, waiting until they've established careers, bought homes, or finished higher education. Here, marriage becomes a partnership of planning. Both partners expect to contribute equally, not only financially, but emotionally and intellectually. The middle class prizes self-improvement, so marriages often revolve around goals: upgrading homes, supporting children's education, or advancing in professional circles. But this balancing act has its challenges. Middle-class marriages are highly vulnerable to lifestyle inflation, the endless pressure to keep up. The financial strain of student loans, mortgages, and childcare costs frequently tests these unions. Divorce rates tend to be high here, partly because partners feel they can recover financially and socially, unlike in the working class. Still, there's a cultural pride in middle-class marriage. It embodies upward mobility, the dream of stability and progress. For many, it's about building a better life than the one they grew up with. Now we arrive at the most guarded world of all: upper-class and old money marriages. Here, the union of two people is rarely just about love. It's about legacy. Wealthy families treat marriage almost like a merger, blending not just lives, but entire dynasties. The unspoken rule? Marry within the circle. Whether that circle is defined by wealth, heritage, or education, the wealthy are notorious for protecting their boundaries. Old money, in particular, views marriage as the key safeguard of reputation. A single wrong marriage, say, to someone seen as flashy, scandalous, or from new money can shake an entire family's standing. This is why elite families often push their children toward private schools, exclusive clubs, and prestigious universities. It isn't just about education. It's about creating controlled environments where acceptable marriages are most likely to occur. In these settings, young heirs and heiresses are gently steered toward people of their own kind. But here's the paradox. In circles of great wealth, marriage can sometimes feel less about romance and more about duty. Love matters, but family legacy often weighs heavier. A marriage that brings prestige, secures inheritance, or cements alliances can overshadow personal feelings. When someone marries across social classes, these differences become glaring. A middle-class person marrying into old money may be shocked by unspoken rules, how dinners are conducted, how inheritance is discussed, or how much weight is placed on appearances. Meanwhile, the wealthy partner may underestimate the financial stresses or work ethic ingrained in someone from a less privileged background. This is where many cross-class marriages stumble. Money isn't the only challenge. It's values, worldviews, and invisible codes of behavior. The wealthy may prize discretion and tradition, while someone from a working-class or middle-class background might value honesty and independence more than appearances. Still, such marriages can and do succeed, but they require extraordinary levels of adaptability, patience, and understanding from both sides. The psychology behind class and marriage. At the heart of marriage lies not just love, but mindset. And mindset, more than money itself, often reveals the true divide between social classes. Working-class couples tend to approach marriage with a survival mentality. Every dollar counts, every unexpected bill matters, and security is never guaranteed. That constant stress creates both unity and friction. Arguments about money aren't just about finances. They're about survival itself. A late rent payment or a medical bill can shake the foundation of the entire marriage. Middle-class couples, by contrast, live in the constant tug-of-war between security and ambition. They have enough to dream, but often not enough to achieve everything. That means money fights are less about survival and more about priorities. Should we send the kids to private school? Should we upgrade to a bigger house? Should one partner take a riskier but potentially more rewarding career path? These debates can bring couples closer, but they also expose differences in values and long-term visions. In wealthy marriages, the psychology shifts again. Here, survival is not the issue. The concerns are abstract but no less powerful. Reputation, family heritage, and the risk of scandal. The wealthy don't argue about how to pay bills. They argue about whether a spouse's behavior could embarrass the family name. A new money spouse who flaunts their wealth can be just as disruptive as one who mishandles finances. Among elites, perception is often more critical than reality. What truly makes marriages across classes so different are the invisible rules each class lives by. In working-class households, affection often shows itself in tangible support, helping with chores, cooking meals, or simply showing up after a long shift. Words may be few, but actions speak volumes. Middle-class couples frequently emphasize communication and equality. They talk through issues, share responsibilities, and plan their futures like a joint business venture. Emotional transparency is often valued as much as financial stability. But in the upper class, especially among old money, the rules are subtler. Public discretion is everything. You'll rarely see an old money couple arguing in public, no matter how deep the conflict runs. Appearances must be maintained. Status is guarded not by words of affection, but by how seamlessly a couple can uphold the image of harmony. Even in private, restraint is often expected. For someone marrying into this world from a different class, the adjustment can feel suffocating. Affection that once came through open conversation or shared hardship may now be replaced by a quiet expectation to understand without ever speaking about it. Cross-class marriages, the clash of values. When people from different social classes marry, the clash of values often emerges in the smallest details. Consider money. For someone raised in a working-class household, spending thousands on a single piece of jewelry may feel irresponsible, even absurd. For someone raised in wealth, it might feel normal, expected even. What one sees as extravagance, the other sees as tradition. Or take family dynamics. Middle-class families often celebrate independence. Adult children are encouraged to strike out on their own. Wealthy families, however, may prize interdependence, with children expected to stay close, inherit property, and join family businesses. Even lifestyle habits can become points of friction. A middle-class spouse might crave casual dinners and open conversations, while their elite partner expects formality and carefully chosen words at the table. The irony? Love is often genuine across these divides. But unless both partners understand that they are also marrying into each other's worldviews, the friction can overwhelm even the strongest feelings. Reputation, the hidden currency of the upper class. In elite marriages, reputation functions like an invisible dowry. A spouse may not bring wealth, but their background, manners, and connections carry immense value. This is why many wealthy families resist marriages outside their circle, because reputation can be diluted just as easily as money can be spent. For old money especially, marriage isn't just about the couple. It's about how the union reflects on the family tree. If the match strengthens the family's prestige, it's celebrated. If it weakens it, even if the spouse is kind, loving, and successful, it may quietly be seen as a misstep. This pressure explains why so many wealthy heirs and heiresses marry people they meet in elite universities, country clubs, or international internships. The environments are engineered to ensure that reputation is never at risk. The myth of the Cinderella marriage. Hollywood loves to tell stories of a poor girl marrying a prince or a wealthy heir, falling for a common partner who teaches them about real life. But reality rarely mirrors this fairy tale. When marriages cross significant class boundaries, the challenges aren't resolved in an hour and a half with a happy ending. They play out every day. In conversations about money, in family gatherings, in social settings where one spouse may always feel like an outsider. That doesn't mean these marriages never work. They do. But for them to thrive, the couple must build something stronger than class itself. Shared values. Without that, the divide can widen until it's impossible to bridge. Love, money, and the real divide. At the end of the day, what truly divides marriages across social classes isn't just money. It's perspective. It's the lens through which each partner sees the world. For the working class, love is tested by survival. For the middle class, love is tested by ambition. For the wealthy, love is tested by legacy. Cross-class marriages reveal these truths more clearly than anything else. When two people come from different worlds, they don't just bring themselves into the relationship. They bring their histories, their expectations, and the invisible codes of the worlds that raised them. Children, the carriers of class identity. When marriages cross social classes, the true test often arrives with children. Parents must decide not just how to raise them, but which world they belong to. In working-class households, children are often raised to value hard work, loyalty, and practicality. Education is encouraged, but the emphasis is on resilience and responsibility. Middle-class parents typically prioritize opportunity. They invest heavily in education, extracurriculars, and experiences to ensure their children have more than they did. Parenting here becomes a careful balance between love and structured ambition. Among the wealthy, especially old money families, children are seen as heirs, future custodians of wealth and reputation. From a young age, they're taught manners, etiquette, and discretion. They attend private schools not only for education, but for networking. Summers are spent abroad or in family estates, where they learn how to navigate elite social circles. When parents come from different classes, these approaches can clash. One parent might believe in discipline and modesty, while the other emphasizes freedom and indulgence. The child, caught between two worlds, may struggle with identity, never fully belonging to either. In elite marriages especially, children often feel the burden of family expectations, pushed to maintain an image they didn't choose. Divorce. The class-specific cost. Just as marriages differ across classes, so too do divorces. For working-class couples, divorce is often avoided simply because it is financially devastating. When it does happen, the fallout can plunge both partners into poverty, with children bearing the brunt of instability. In middle-class marriages, divorce is common, but recovery is possible. Both partners may remarry, rebuild careers, and maintain middle-class lifestyles, though not without strain. The financial and emotional costs are real, but society views it as normal. Among the wealthy, divorce becomes a public affair, even when handled discreetly. The division of assets, inheritance disputes, and custody battles over children who are heirs all carry enormous stakes. The wealthy rarely worry about survival after divorce, but they do worry about scandal. A messy split can taint reputations for generations, which is why confidentiality agreements, ironclad prenups, and discreet settlements are the norm. And here's the paradox. The wealthiest couples may stay in unhappy marriages not out of love, but out of necessity. The risk of reputational damage can be more frightening than personal unhappiness. Despite the challenges, some cross-class marriages thrive. What makes them different? The answer lies in shared values. When both partners agree on what matters most, whether it's raising children with integrity, living modestly despite wealth, or pursuing shared goals, the gap of class begins to fade. Communication is critical too. A spouse from wealth must acknowledge that privilege shaped their worldview. A spouse from modest beginnings must understand that wealth brings invisible pressures outsiders rarely see. When both partners approach each other with humility, empathy, and curiosity, marriage becomes less about class and more about partnership. And sometimes, love truly does transcend class. Couples who build their relationship on mutual respect often create something rare, a union that blends the best of both worlds. The resilience of the working class, the ambition of the middle class, and the legacy of the upper class can fuse into a powerful family culture, one that shapes not just their marriage, but generations to come. So, what truly divides marriages across social classes? It isn't only money, though wealth casts a long shadow. It isn't just tradition, though culture silently shapes behavior. It's perspective. It's the lens each partner brings into the marriage. The expectations, the invisible rules, the fears, and the hopes. Some couples align naturally, while others clash endlessly. But one truth remains. Marriage is never just about two people. It's about the worlds they carry with them. And when those worlds collide, love alone is rarely enough. Because at the end of the day, what keeps a marriage alive isn't romance or riches, it's whether two people can survive the weight of the worlds they bring with them.